Hike. 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 Hike.
Hike.
5, 4, 3, 2, 0, 1, live. So we're here. We're now. So
Yes, we are.
I don't know if you've ever been on camera,
A couple times.
but what happens for me is that I get a little bit cozy. Like I have to like work into it to get to the point, especially with the headphones,
Yeah.
because like not every day do you have a conversation that's so with such diction, just clean.
Yeah.
Like
Without like the distractions of the other noises and stuff going on.
yeah, I
Yeah,
mean
yeah.
you hear a little bit of the fan, but that's providing us heat. We're here in the basement of my home. I've been invited Josiah over here, and we're gonna talk about stuff. Primarily, what was like your earliest memory of us?
Of us?
Of us.
Oh my gosh.
And
That's really
not
hard.
the best one, but the earliest.
The earliest. Because I can think of like really vivid ones,
Yeah.
but
Was I? Did we
Gosh.
meet? Because I started going to LCF when I was like 12.
yeah.
Right. So 12 or 13,
Yeah.
and that means that you would have been
Probably what?
18, 19.
Yeah.
Okay. And so
I
that
think I'm like 5-6 years older than you, so yeah, that'd make sense.
so by that time you would have been like the youth pastor, or not youth pastor, but the
Would've been-
youth leader.
Yeah.
Yeah. But you weren't my youth leader. You were.
Uh-uh.
You worked with like what, like the 7th graders or something?
I think I worked with like the 7th graders, yeah.
Yeah. And then you like, as they got older, you would still be with them. Is
Yep.
that how the progression worked?
I think that's how it was supposed to originally work, but like with the different youth pastors, I think like that kind of changed some of that
Yeah.
throughout the years, but I think originally that's the intent,
Yeah.
and it kind of worked like that.
I just remember you as the. So you know how I got to LCF?
No, I don't know.
Megan.
really.
Yeah. So I grew up going to a Catholic church, and then Megan went to the youth group and was like, "This place is cool. This place is the bomb," and it was because you could play basketball.
Yeah.
Not that the Catholic church didn't have like a. But anyway, how did you get to LCF?
I actually got to LCF because my dad was the youth pastor there from, I was probably 8 when we moved up to Liberty so he could take that job, and then he was there for like 4 years or so as a
Okay.
youth pastor. So that's how I got to LCF,
Okay.
and then I kind of kept on going because
It was like it's church, so
Yeah.
like the family went, and so
Yep.
you went, and then
Yep.
you went to like the youth group and stuff.
Yeah, because even like after my dad left that church, I still went to the youth group because my friends, people I was familiar with and stuff at that point.
Yeah. So was your dad like involved with that? Because I don't really know much about your dad.
Yeah.
Like I remember primarily, and then I also remember Jesse, because Jesse was running around like he was like 2 years younger than me, I think.
Yep. Yeah.
And he was so small.
Yep.
And
He's still pretty small.
and he was like the only other person more annoying than me.
At that point, yeah, he's not annoying now.
Yeah,
He's pretty awesome.
I think I met him. It was weird because I hadn't seen him for like 8 years or something. I think I remember seeing him, and it was just like a totally different person, much more timid,
And yeah,
much more Josiah-esque.
yes, he's like if I was slightly taller and I was a lot skinnier. Like he's like skinny and
Yeah,
like,
and
I
he's
mean, like we were talking earlier, he does like the whole climbing thing, so he's just like skinny, but he's just like nothing but muscle.
yeah,
Yeah.
and his tendons are probably jacked.
They're huge.
Really?
They're huge. Yeah, yeah.
Has he been climbing for a while?
A few years at least. Yeah.
Gosh. In that case, I haven't seen him since he passed you in height.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. He's definitely taller than me.
Well, in that case, it was probably like 10 years ago that he was probably like still in high school or something,
Probably.
or junior high. Wow, dude.
Yeah.
Shout out to Jesse.
He's a good
He's
dude.
out all the way in Seattle.
Yeah. He's a good dude.
I'll have to fly out there. Oh, this is something I learned recently, is that if you fly and you have a media credentials, then you can get cheap carry-on, or not carry-on, but cheap luggage, like really cheap, like 90% off.
Really?
Yeah.
Huh.
So fun fact.
Most of the time when I fly, I can just fly with a backpack, but
Yeah, me too. Yeah, We're those guys that like people envy because we can just stuff like 2 weeks worth of clothes into a backpack.
Yeah.
I think the last time that like was like family vacation. And it was, my family just put all of their things in that. Did you ever go on family vacation?
Oh yeah, definitely. It was I would say though, now that I don't think I can fit everything in a backpack now because I'm that guy where like people make fun of like, oh, this guy loves shoes or something. I love jackets. So anytime I go on vacation, I take like 5 jackets with me.
Yeah.
So I have to have a suitcase almost now, unless I could wear like 5 jackets at the same time.
I'm looking at your jacket now. It's kind of fresh.
Yeah, it's
See, I'm a jacket guy too, but I was a jacket guy. So I have like 6. You saw my jacket closet.
yeah.
Yeah. So I have everything from the Carhartt to the snowboard jacket to the other snowboard jacket to the other snowboard jacket, which is really where we like knew each other.
Yeah.
Like snowboarding
Snowboarding was fun.
in Missouri.
In Missouri. It was super weird.
Before it was cool.
Before it was cool. But then, but you were saying vacations. Our family vacations were weird.
Yeah.
Like, I look back and I don't know how my parents didn't like just beat us all. They were so nice and kind because we would drive like I'm in the middle of 5 kids. So there'd be like 5 of us kids and my parents in like a station wagon driving to like Fort Lauderdale, Florida to visit my grandparents, which is like 25 hours of driving or something.
Yeah.
And how they didn't just like slap us or something.
I always forget how many people you have in your family.
Yeah, there's a lot of us.
Because I like primarily your sister and Jesse.
Yep, the 2 young ones.
Gosh, now I feel terrible.
So so I have 2 older brothers. The oldest is Jeremy, and then Josh was slightly younger than him.
So I'd never met really Jeremy or Josh.
Yeah.
And our passings were like really like I felt like we always had like this kind of like we were both musicians. We were both creative individuals, but like I don't know. It was like there was like we never like I'm excited for this moment here. Like this to the people listening, like this is like the first time in like I think we've ever been like, hey, we're gonna meet and we're gonna sit down and we're gonna hang out, make music, but we're gonna like schedule something.
Yes,
which is
like
like
very intentional about like having a conversation like this. Yeah.
A very adult because before it was just in passing.
Yeah.
But now it's like, I think it was because I've seen you so much around town. That, like I was like, because like I saw you at Quick Trip one time.
Yeah.
I saw you probably at Quick Trip another time.
Probably. It's a good place.
Yeah. Shout out to Quick Trip.
Yeah.
They don't sponsor this program, but like they should.
Ooh, they totally should because them taquitos.
Dude,
They're
have
so
you
good.
tried the Sriracha Ranch with them?
Yeah. You know what's quick favorite of mine? You take the hot dog bun.
Yeah.
You put the chicken log in it, that like spicy chicken log thing, and then you just like put all your toppings on that. Oh man.
Ooh.
The
deep
breaded,
fried like chicken thing.
Yeah, it's like the like buffalo breaded chicken thing. You put it in a hot dog bun and then like put the cheese on there, put the nacho cheese,
nacho
do
cheese.
the whole thing, man.
Yeah.
It's so good. And it's probably like 16,000 calories in that one thing. It's probably horrible for you.
But
All
it's
the
like-
salt you need for like 6
Yes.
months, but it's so good.
If you want sodium in your meal, like McDonald's has nothing on Quick Trip, really.
No, not at all.
You know what pisses me off? What really irks me, that takes me to the extremes, is when they started the kitchen, because they started the kitchen and then they needed more employees there, and so whenever you'd go there, it used to be Quick Trip to get you in and out, right? Did you notice that change whenever they opened that dang kitchen? Is that like you go in there just to get a taquito and leave, but now it's like you go in there, get a taquito, and you wait in line for like 5 solid minutes.
I don't know which Quick Trip you're going to. I don't really usually have that problem.
Really?
Yeah.
Must be going in there at the hot moments.
Yeah, you must be.
Yeah.
Lunchtime's horrible. I just ignore Quick Trip lunchtime because it's just chaos.
Well, that's the thing is, though, is that like and I see it because they only have like 2 cashiers working it. I've seen times when like they have 4 cashiers. It's just quick.
Yeah.
It used to be like lunchtime, you could get in and out.
Yep.
Maybe you didn't hop on the quick trip bus until after they opened up the kitchen inside there.
I went pretty often before the kitchen, but
Okay.
maybe. But it also is hard because I'm in a different part of town than you, so maybe mine are different. I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know.
All right, let's move on to some substance here.
Yeah.
Who is your God?
Who is my God?
Yeah.
That's a very loaded question.
Yeah, everybody gets it.
Everybody gets it?
Everybody gets it. Well, it used to be, how did you meet Jesus? And then I talked to too many atheists.
Mm.
And then it was and I planned on talking to Jewish people. And then it became really awkward.
Yeah.
Because how would you meet Jesus? Like,
who's my God? I'd first start out by saying I don't know yet. Fully, like,
yeah.
It's a journey. I'm trying to figure that out. As a kid, growing up, going to church, you think you know what God is, who God is.
Sure.
But the older I'm getting, the more I realize I don't know.
Yeah.
But what I'm learning also, though, is the important part is not that I know 100%, but I see that I don't know and try to make that journey and continue that, not just stop because I don't know something.
Yeah. So you recognize the rests inside the music, and that's what drives you on to continue.
Yeah. It's I guess
composing.
It's kind of the same idea. I've always thought is like if we let's say go to the Bible and you go to doubting Thomas, everybody's like, oh gosh, he doubted Jesus and Jesus was right there, and it's like, no, he was the most normal one of them.
Yeah.
Because he had these doubts, and we all have those, but what he did is tried to seek that answer.
Yeah.
I would say whether it's religion or something else, you doubt something, you don't understand something, that's not you being foolish or you being like an idiot or something. It's you not knowing something or not understanding something, and then if you take that and try to find that answer, that's a pretty solid way to live.
What comes to mind is like Matthew 5 is like the Beatitudes, is like blessed are the poor in spirit, and it's like what exactly does that mean? That you're acknowledging that like there's something that's empty there.
Mm-hmm.
It's like acknowledging that doubt.
Well, isn't that line, blessed are the poor in spirit, for they will find, is that they will find peace, or I know it's they will find,
for they shall inherit the kingdom of God.
Is that it?
I don't know.
I don't remember.
I don't know.
If only we had an internet device to look up this thing we cannot remember.
I got 20% left. I better hurry. It's about to die.
Yeah, it's going to take all that 20% just to find that.
Let's also acknowledge that I think also the reason why I liked Josiah so much was in youth group was because like you had tattoos and like you wore like skater punk outfits. And like that was the time whenever like skateboard, snowboard was like. Do you realize it took me 3 times of asking my mother to get me a skateboard for Christmas until I actually got one with bearings? First world problems.
Well, I think part of it is there's this huge.
Wait, I was for those people who are listening. If they're listening, do we have any viewers?
I don't know.
This is kind of the first time I actually. Nah.
Cool.
Whatever. There's people in like Korea that listen on the podcast, which is pretty neat.
That's fun.
Yeah, or New Zealand, Sweden, Norway. Maybe they just clicked on it and then just like listened for like 5 seconds. But still, it has reach.
Yeah.
But
that's amazing.
Just swing back by here. Okay, blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Yes.
Very close with that. I did say that.
I think you just said yeah.
For they shall inherit the kingdom of for exactly. Theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
But I think part of that is because it's like the poor in spirit that gives them that hope to keep on searching, and even when they're down or feeling like they don't know something or whatever it may be, that they have that journey and they have that reward at the end.
Well, and here's the thing too, is that like I always saw like in the Beatitudes how like this was like the I am Jesus moment to the people. and not just the people, but there was some like discrepancy. I remember in like some small group that they were like, was it to the disciples or was it to like people? Which I think that's very irrelevant because at that time the disciples were no greater than the people
The disciples
because they
were
didn't
the
believe.
people. Yeah.
They didn't. They actually didn't believe. Thomas didn't believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, at this time, Thomas didn't believe. Peter didn't believe. Peter. They followed him around.
Yeah.
It was almost like they were like, this dude is I like him because he's wearing skate gear and tattoos.
Mm-hmm.
And like that's the truth, man. And they were just like following him around.
Yeah.
So, but I always thought of these as like, it's like a step-by-step process of like acknowledging reality.
Mm-hmm.
Right? It's like acknowledge that there's something missing. And by doing that, you're poor in spirit. That spirit is what's missing. You know, you could have everything in the world, but like spiritually, like acknowledge, like, but still be missing something, right?
Right. Like, I think that's the journey and that's the beauty of it.
Yeah.
Is like, what do they say? Is it like Socrates, I think, that said, true knowledge is knowing you know nothing?
Yeah.
And I only remember that from Bill and Ted's Excellent Adventure because of that. But I think there's so much truth in that, is like knowing you don't know or understanding you don't understand and taking that to try to know, to try to understand, I think is the point
Yeah.
of a lot of it.
Yeah.
Because, for instance, like this Bible study thing we do on Sundays, we just talked about how, I think it was like last week, how in the end times, which that's really hard to like decipher how that's going to play out. And I understand that because, I mean, we're not at the end times.
And nobody will never ever know. That's the one thing that's like foundationally true right there too, is that nobody will ever actually know.
But one thing that's been very consistent, and there's actually like a couple of verses in Exodus that talk about it, that one of the things that God will come down and basically help us understand all the aspects that we don't understand.
Yeah.
And like, that's one of the coolest things to think about, is like knowing I have stuff wrong. I know that there's things I think or believe that are probably a little off, or because the understanding I have is maybe this much and there's this much to understand about it. I mean,
like those punk clothes that you wore whenever I was younger only looked cool to the younger kids at that time.
Oh yeah. Like I still wear a lot of those clothes and
but it turned into like a art, right?
Yeah, I guess so. Yeah.
But at that time you just did it to impress people, right?
No, I don't know. I don't really know why I did it. I think it was just like I wanted to be myself. I wanted to be who I was, not what everybody else thought I had to wear, whatnot. So then you end up being...
Did you listen to the Ramones?
A little bit.
Okay.
But not as much as like some other stuff. I was more into like the heavy metal and all that stuff. Still into that.
I'm just scarecrowing you. Yeah. It's a new term that I've coined. Is like
scarecrow.
Just scarecrowing somebody. Is like just filling them up with, you know what, scarecrowing, like what is the logical fallacy?
Okay. Yeah.
Like I don't know if there's an actual Latin term for it, but like to scarecrow somebody, to like build a you know what it is. And if people are listening and don't know it, just look up
look it up.
Look up Jamie Foxx. No, I'm just kidding. That has nothing to do with what we're talking about. But yeah. What were we?
I don't remember. We were talking about skate clothes and...
Yeah.
I don't remember.
I was scarecrowing you. But then you were talking about something very specific. Gosh, I always do that. Stupid.
That happens.
What was it?
What were we talking about?
You were in your group. They were sharing about...
Oh, about how, like, at the end times or whatever, the next life, whatever it may be, that we will kind of understand the things we don't know. And... somebody
will be there to share with you.
Yes.
Like the time that girl broke up with you. This is why.
Yeah.
And this is how this played out.
Yep.
And then that person you ran into that also went through something just like that 3 years prior, and ended up getting married. And then like 5 years down the road after that, like you stayed friends with that person. And then you got into some issues with your marriage, and they went into the same kind of issues, and like you were able to like, yeah, I clearly can't like I'm trying to like play the role of God.
Yeah.
Or your God, the God. Do you believe in the God or your God? Like, and then that question is very phrased, very.
It's very, very interesting. I personally believe in the God of the Bible.
Okay.
So, yeah, I believe in the Trinity. I believe in Jesus. I believe in the Holy Spirit. I believe in
Okay.
kind of more of a, some people would say like a traditional monotheist, if you will, God.
Monotheist.
Yep.
Did you study the Bible? Like,
no, not really.
Yeah.
Not particularly.
you didn't go into seminary or?
Nope.
Okay.
No, but I think having, like, trying to think of where he's at, but I think my dad's been in ministry for like 38 years or something like that at this point. So I think in him being in ministry by proxy,
Mhm.
I've kind of half studied, I guess, just
Yeah.
from the people around and
The books were there,
conversation.
and you're a
Yeah.
reader.
Yeah.
So you,
I read quite a few,
yeah.
but
Gosh, that's what I think what it was. You were so there was something about you that I didn't see. Like there was something that like whenever you were around is that there was something that I didn't know about you. Like you're almost an oxymoron. It's like you skated but you also read.
mhm.
You did you smoke cigarettes?
I did like after high school for a little bit, but not really.
But like not in high school?
No.
Okay. Is smoking cigarettes a sin?
I don't think so necessarily.
You thought I was gonna grab for it.
Yeah, I thought you were. I think it can be like almost anything if you're
Yeah.
putting that above things that matter. Like, I mean, I smoke a cigar here and there. I have my scotch every once in a while. Love some scotch, but
Especially the more smoky, the better.
exactly. But if I put that before things that matter, if I put that before like making sure that, like, let's say I put food on the table for my wife and I, then I feel like that's a problem there.
Yeah.
And that's the point of not sinning, is to make our lives better.
Yeah.
I mean, that's one of the points. One of the points is because it actually puts us farther away from God. It's inherently what sin is doing something that puts you farther from God than you were before you did that.
Yeah.
So I think it's more about the priorities, and for me, like, I don't struggle with addiction, which I'm very blessed in that, and I'm not people who have.
You see me swallow really big? Didn't I share that earlier? I'm not. I think I'm I need to quit chewing tobacco. So I'm gonna smoke Black and Milds.
Well, and it's hard
Nicotine in
because
it.
people who have
Addicted
addictive
to
personalities,
nicotine.
they can't really get away from having addictions.
Yeah.
They just need to do something that I say it so easily, but I'm not an addictive person, so I don't understand necessarily how hard it is. But they need to replace that with a positive thing.
Yeah.
And so for me, like, I'm very blessed where I can have a glass of scotch and stop.
Sure.
Like, I'm good. But for other people, that's a struggle. And there's other things I struggle with that maybe other people don't. So it's just, that's where like sin and things like that are really kind of hard.
What do you struggle with? No. I won't put you on the spot like that.
Struggle with? Okay.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of things. There's a
Maybe
laundry
we'll
list.
pop up later in on the.
There's a laundry
just-
list.
You and I both, my friend. My friend, I like that.
Yeah,
I like that.
that's good. It's like a nice, like,
It's nice.
cordial thing,
Yeah.
if you will.
Yeah. Yeah. No, so what don't I know about you? There's so much I don't know about you. What is it like? You grew up with all of these kids in the family, like,
Mhm.
and your dad was a youth pastor.
Yep.
How did he afford to feed all of you?
Honestly, I have no idea. Like, I've talked to him here and there, and I think part of it is like growing older. You start to talk to your parents more about like grown up things like paying bills and debt and stupid stuff, like stuff that's not fun. You're like, can't we just go back where we're talking about like the soccer game or whatever, not like bills? And then talking with him, I don't understand. I honestly don't. I have no idea how my parents did it.
Really?
But they did. And I think the biggest testament is the fact that like I never thought I was really poor growing up.
Yeah.
You know, I thought I had what I needed and then some.
Yeah.
Which is, I felt like a cool kid. Like I had skateboards like we were talking about. Like I'd snap one and I somehow was able to get a new one. Like, I mean, granted, I would like skate shoes I would tear up, so I'd duct tape them or shoe glue them so I could keep on using them. But I mean, I didn't feel like I didn't have anything.
Yeah.
Even though, like, I don't know how he did it.
What did your mom do?
She stayed at home.
She was a stay-at-home?
She was a stay-at-home mom.
Now I really don't know how he did it.
Yeah, and then we were all homeschooled.
Oh, wow.
I don't. There's some people that don't understand that.
Not through high school, though. You guys, really?
My sister and my little brother did some, like, my sister did a lot more. She would go to Liberty to take, like, art classes and stuff like that. And my little brother did, I think, a little bit, but not very much.
Really?
Yeah, so I
didn't know that you were
yeah, I was homeschooled K through 12.
I almost said adopted. I don't know why.
Which is real weird working in a school district now. So I was homeschooled, now I work for a school district.
Yeah, let's...
It's kind of interesting.
I don't know if I want to avoid that conversation or not. The school district conundrum. I do. I want to avoid it because I don't want... I would not like to... I would like to be a part of... We were just talking about this earlier. Is that I'm trying to consciously avoid conversations regarding systems that I am not actively a part of.
Systems that exist and you may or may not have much impact. Or they don't have an impact on you or whatever it may be.
Sure.
Yeah.
And I think
those are hard ones to talk about for sure.
Yeah. And saying that sentence out loud is like the first time I'm like, yeah. That's like something I need to write on my freaking bathroom mirror. I already forgot it. To speak about things that are...
That do not impact you.
Or just don't involve me.
And don't involve.
That I'm not...
That's a good way of saying it. Involve you.
Yeah. I'm not involved in this, so... You know, unless somebody pursues that kind of conversation with me. Because I don't know, I was also sharing this with you earlier. Are you the type of person to get into political or religious conversation with strangers?
Sometimes.
Yeah.
Not often. A lot more religiously than politically, for sure.
Yeah. Do you avoid politics?
I think I try to like see the audience before I talk politics, because I mean, especially we were talking earlier. Sometimes the audience or people you're talking with can be very dangerous.
It's a slippery slope.
It's a slippery slope, and I think there has to be. It's hard because both of those, I feel like you have to have a mutual respect for each other. Yeah. But it seems like in our climate, and not to get too political, but in our climate in the last probably 10, 15 years, maybe it's because we're getting older, but from talking to people, it doesn't seem like it's because we're older now and grown-ups and we understand this, but it hasn't been this way. But we have to be even more trustworthy politically of who we're talking with.
Yes.
Because whether or not I agree with somebody, it's hard to talk with, like, if there's somebody that I disagree with, it's hard to talk with them if we don't have a mutual trust and a mutual respect. Yeah. But there's some people, there's even a couple people I'm very close with that believe completely different from me. Sure. And I love talking with them because we have this mutual respect. Yes. We have this trust in each other. And I would say it's also something I wish more people had, because I feel like I've grown more from the person who believes almost opposite of me than the person who believes with me.
Yeah.
Like, where's the strength in surrounding yourself with people who think exactly the same as you?
Yeah.
You're not going to change. But if you find somebody who you can trust and respect that believes differently than you, then you can just learn so much.
Yeah.
It's real fun.
I agree with the like one of my best friends is atheist, right? And we'll have debates all night long.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll like wake up the next morning and love each other more.
Yeah.
And like that's like I don't know if he'd call it love because he's atheist. I mean, atheists can love too.
Yeah. I was going to say, just because you don't believe. And
well, we have a different dictionary. Like a lot of time, like part of the reason why I said I wanted to sit down with him, and like a lot of the reason why I want to sit down with a lot of people, is because they speak with conviction, and he would say confidence.
Okay.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would say conviction, he would say confidence. So it's like, okay. You say agape, I say filio.
Yep.
Like. But
no, what is there? Death Cab for Cutie song, different names for the same thing.
You were just telling me about that. Death Cab for Cutie.
Yeah.
That
love that band.
Metal.
Yes.
And synth music.
Dude, my music's all over the place. It's
acoustic to electronic.
Ooh.
Dude,
that's not even like all of it, man.
I want to turn down. I'm going to turn down my volume real quick, and I want to. My ex-girlfriend would like I feel convicted to share that this is one of my like deadly sins, is that I'm so prideful of being diverse with my music. And it wasn't until after that I was like, that I looked back, because after you go through a breakup, you kind of realize a lot of things that like, no, you're pretty stupid in this area. Like,
oh yeah,
like you're pretty like that was pretty dumb to say, you know, like
I mean, I've only been broken up with once.
Yeah.
And thank God I married her. She got back together with me and realized I wasn't an idiot, not married to her. But when she broke up with me, I was mostly mad at myself, because I'm like, you're an idiot. Like, you did this wrong. Like,
yeah.
It's a really bad slap in the face, self-reflecting moment.
For one specific, you know, like, I'm being very precise in this, is that like I remember an argument that we had, and I was like, we're gonna listen to this because Skrillex is good. like honey, pipe down, we're listening to Skrillex. I didn't say it like that, but now that I reflect at it, like, it's just like, oh my gosh.
I feel bad because I do that crap all the time to my wife. I'm like, oh, you've had a bad day at work? I'm glad to hear that. Now we're going to listen to this on the way home. I'm like, I did it the other day, and it was actually Weird Al Yankovic we were listening to on the way home. Yeah.
Well, I remember too, I just like this idea that like consumed me so much so that I believed it was true. And that there's just something there's something that anybody can enjoy on my phone. There's just something. And not only that, but like 95% chance I go to shuffle mode and I push play, and within the next 2 songs you're gonna like it. Here, I'm doing it to you right now.
Well, here the bad part is with me is I like a lot of music, or I at least like.
We're not doing that now.
Have a respect for it, whether or not I like it.
Yeah.
Like, there's only a few bands I just cannot stand.
Name them.
Name them?
Yeah.
Oh, man. You're going to get me in trouble. No, you're not. I don't care. I can't stand Nickelback. I can't stand, like, that whole genre of music.
Oh,
it's just...
Dude, you're so basic for saying that. Nobody likes Nickelback.
Yeah. But then... Which, okay, we'll get that out of the way.
What about Pearl Jam? Do you like Pearl Jam?
I can deal with Pearl Jam.
I hate Pearl Jam.
Really?
Yes.
I can understand why. I can deal with them.
But I don't know how you.
Though?
I don't know how you like. I don't know how you can say you hate Nickelback and love Pearl Jam.
Pearl Jam is like. I don't know.
They sound very similar though, don't they?
Similar, but I'm trying to think of how to describe it. Because Pearl Jam obviously came before Nickelback.
Sure.
And it's like the route to Nickelback is like the Pearl Jam, Alice in Chain bands,
Mm-hmm.
and then Creed came along,
Yes.
and then Creed was like, I'm gonna be kind of like them, but my own thing, and they kind of took grunge, like the vocals almost, and I'm probably really butchering this. But
By the
then-
way, you know I'm really comfortable on camera whenever I start picking my nose.
oh sweet,
So
hey,
we're there.
hey.
Anyway,
Do
what
what
did
you
you say?
gotta do.
Creed, Pearl
so,
Jam to
and Creed did something. Scott Stapp was like, oh, I want to do these vocals like this. Kind of seems like the grunge Pearl Jam, Alice in Chains kind of stuff. But then they wanted more like metal on it, and then that kind of birthed the like Nickelback kind of genres more.
Yes.
And
butt metal.
I
Is
maybe
that what it is? Butt metal.
butt rock,
Butt
yeah.
rock.
And I maybe like have some of it wrong, but it's like I just don't like that stuff. And maybe it's because I like heavy metal. So if you're gonna go heavy, I want this kind.
Yeah.
Like I want the crazy, can't understand what they're saying, whatever.
Like don't give me a Reese's mini
yeah,
peanut butter cup. What are you thinking? Don't give
No.
me that. Give me either those big cup Reese's or a 4-pack
Well,
or
the 4-pack that you're supposed to share, but we all know that's for one person, like one sitting.
or the fourth option, which is my favorite, is just a jar of peanut butter and a jar of freaking Nutella
Oh,
and
that
then
would
some
work.
crackers or something.
Yeah. Some graham crackers or something.
Yeah. Just to go in some milk. Oh.
Yeah. Yeah.
I got that refrigerator back there. I think that's going to be a specialty that I keep in there.
You should.
Just some peanut butter, some Nutella, and then some. Well, I guess that's none of that goes to the fridge.
No, none of it. But you can put it in there, I guess.
Like, hey.
It's just super cold and like extra thick. And,
Well, it's not plugged in, so like I
Oh,
think it'd be
then
funny
it
just
would be
like to put
perfect.
them.
yeah, why not?
You want some snacks? Check out the refrigerator.
Yeah, you open it up and there's graham crackers.
Graham crackers, Nutella, peanut butter, and chocolate, and then
Yeah.
like warm Mountain Dew,
Yeah, there you go.
or like spoiled rotten milk.
Ugh.
Like, you want some milk with that? It's
No.
right next to it. Like, oh no, thank you.
Not a big milk guy anyway. That'd make it worse.
Oh man, you get all chunky and stuff. But
yeah,
boy, we went out on a roller coaster.
yeah.
Oh,
Yeah,
I
we
used
did.
I used to have a water bottle over here, like a water. Get some water over there.
Do you need some of my water?
I thought maybe we could have a lesson in this. It's like
Huh.
sharing of water. Like,
There's some water.
no, I can't. I can't.
Okay.
We were talking about germs earlier.
Are you a germaphobe then?
That's the thing is that I am so self-conscious of others being germaphobes
But I guess
that like I like wouldn't drink out of it because I am worried that the other person would be like, "Ew, did you
Oh.
just drink out of my drink?" Even
I
when you
guess-
say it to me, I'm
I
like,
guess the only thing that's scary is just like how crazy the flu's been recently.
"Yeah."
But-
Can you come back here if we both get the flu?
Okay.
You come back
Fair.
here and we'll have a while we're on the flu. I
Yeah.
don't know if that's
Will sound
proper
like-
wording.
Super terrible.
Yeah, Hold on, I gotta go.
But yeah,
Have you gotten the flu?
it's been a long time.
Yeah. Do you get sick easily?
No, not usually.
That's good. What's like the sickest you've ever gotten?
Gosh, it was probably like in like junior high.
other than I was gonna say other than like at Snow Creek.
Snow Creek. I wasn't sick there. I don't remember.
Dude, you were so sick.
I don't remember that.
You were so sick. Dude, you would hit anything, man, and like the air you'd get, like. you
Oh,
were
that kind of sick. Okay, I was like, I thought I felt fine that day. I don't remember.
Oh, I like those kind of puns.
Yeah, it's a good pun.
Yeah.
It's a good pun.
When it's like 30, 40 seconds later, like, oh, that's what. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Do you remember Strat?
Strat.
Yeah. Strat Cat?
I don't remember Strat Cat.
He was at the youth group.
Strat Cat. John Stratton.
Yeah.
I never called him that. So, but yeah,
I always
I saw him like maybe a year ago or something. Maybe
Dude,
less
I
than
think
that.
he's married.
Yeah, he is. Congratulations.
No. Piss off, bro. I wasn't invited to the wedding.
I wasn't either.
Okay,
But
cool.
in the same boat.
Okay, that's fine.
I don't take offense to it because then if I don't get invited, I don't have to buy no presents.
Do you know what my last present to a wedding was?
What?
My buddy John got married. You know John Weir?
Yeah.
That's where I think I saw your brother. Would he have been invited to that?
I don't know.
I don't either. No, he wasn't there.
Anyways.
So I was like, I gotta get a present for this guy. And then I was like, I don't have any money. And then I was like, what can I give him? So like I walked all around no, actually I knew exactly what I was gonna do. I took this picture of Modest Mouse. He loves Modest Mouse, right? What's your favorite band?
My favorite band? This one's weird and it makes me sound like an old man. Alice Cooper.
What was the band that he was in?
Alice Cooper.
But no, he played guitar in another band or something, didn't he?
Nope.
This is me killing time so I can share this
what
picture.
Was it, like 1968 to 1974, there was a band called Alice Cooper, and then they kind of split ways, and the lead singer kept the name. And
I thought it was Guns N' Roses. I thought he played guitar for that.
Nope.
No?
That's Slash.
Oh, Slash. Duh. No, that was just me playing games. I know Alice Cooper. Come on.
Yeah.
This is the picture, though.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. Yeah, so I printed it off and I had it on a canvas. And,
nice.
you know, I just moved into this place. By the way, this isn't the exact same one. There's another rendition of it. But look at this. You can see him smoking a cigarette.
I love it.
Right?
Love it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. For the camera, can I check? I don't know if it'll I don't know if that worked. And for the people listening, like, just imagine an awesome picture.
Just Google awesome picture, Modest Mouse. Boom.
Yeah.
That's it.
I did post it online, I think.
There you
I
go.
love their backdrop, too, and everything. They're have you seen them live?
Weird enough, I have not.
That's a band that I think everybody should see live.
I have seen many, many bands, but haven't seen them.
Sound exactly like their album.
That's sometimes good, sometimes bad.
The
But
only
if
other
it's the good kind, that's always awesome.
the only other band. Anyway, to finish the story is I had this canvas printed off and like I was gonna hang it in my house and I was like, perfect. I'll sign the back of it, write a like cute little note on it, and then I'll just give it to him.
Yeah.
There's like a little piece of it kind of like coming off because of the move and stuff, and I was like, but oh gosh, I hope he doesn't listen to this. I didn't even think through that. Picking my nose, and I'm sharing details about my gift giving incapabilities. Oh.
Or that you just knew it was going to be such a good present, you bought it previous.
Yes.
Or waiting for a worthy time and a worthy situation.
And I did. I did that with my boss. I got hired, and my boss was awesome. Loved him. Still is my boss. Now I work for his son. And so I gave him a Christmas present, and the Christmas present I gave to him was one of my shots of this donkey. But it was so good. It was like if you took out the donkey, it would scream Missouri. But I think what it was is a representation of who I am. I'm an ass in Missouri. So what was I saying?
It's fair.
The Modest Mouse is that Modest Mouse and Incubus are the two bands that I think were the most phenomenal to watch, to listen to. To watch, I would say Incubus. Modest Mouse, they didn't really have much movement.
Yeah.
But Incubus, oh my gosh.
See, that's the hard thing is like the balance of the sounding good and the performance-wise.
Yeah.
Because I don't even want to tell you how many shows I've seen, but I've seen bands that like performed really well and were awesome to watch, but sounded horrible. And then other ones that sounded awesome, but were super boring to watch.
Yes.
And then the great ones are both.
Mm-hmm.
The like truly, truly great ones.
Yeah. Unfortunately, I think that like the performance side of things is like, it's turned into an absolute masquerade.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I don't know if you've seen the movie with Lady Gaga and Bradley Cooper, A Star Is Born.
I have not.
I really don't like that movie, and if I had anybody who listened to this channel, I would get a lot of flack. But I didn't really. But I think it showed. I think it showed like the progression, the dark. Basically, what it is that she becomes famous, right? Like this girl who works as a waitress at this restaurant, because like Bradley Cooper, this big time musician, falls in love with her. What's it? Spoiler. He dies. He kills himself. Well, she goes on to become like this famous star because she performed one night with him live on the stage, this song that she wrote. And then do you hear that?
Yeah. Is that like steam or something?
It's coming from the computer.
Is that like yeah.
I don't know how like that went from there to there.
Don't know.
In here. I don't either. Maybe a ghost.
Weird.
Anyway, it showed like this where she was like kind of like a country star, like the Taylor Swift transformation of like performing an acoustic song up there on stage and walking around with a guitar and dancing a little bit into like full on.
Yep. Shake It Off or whatever her songs are. That kind of stuff. But
This just keeps, sorry, it's bothering me. What is that? I need to turn this down. 0.
Huh.
I don't know.
Weird.
It's fixed now.
Cool.
But anyways, yeah, that suggestion. But yeah. It doesn't seem like you let it bother you.
What? That noise?
No.
I'm like, what are you still
like
fixated on the noise?
Like the whole pop thing, like where now it's all about dancing and like showing next to nothing. Did you watch the Super Bowl halftime show?
Yeah, I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Did you just kind of like, this is where it is, this is where we are, or was it like I need to get that girl some clothes on there? Kids watching this.
The way I think about it is they weren't any less dressed than the cheerleaders, so I didn't really care.
Yeah.
I mean, in my mind, I don't care.
Yeah.
I was actually super distracted. If anybody rewatches the Super Bowl, when J-Lo is dancing, one of her backup dancers is unbelievable. I wish the halftime show was just that dude, because he was like huge smiles, like huge smile, and like every move was like super over the top, and it was a blast to watch. Like I'm sitting there like, oh, that guy's amazing, and just having a blast, and everybody's like, what the hell? Didn't even notice.
The most passionate backup.
Yeah,
dancer.
he was awesome.
Really?
Yeah.
I almost want to search that and see if that pops up.
You know, I actually have like a GIF I made of that guy that I can send to you because he's amazing. But yeah, I don't really care, and it's pop music. It's always had its place. I mean, you could even say going back to like Elvis, he was doing all his pelvic thrusts and stuff like that, and that was kind of the thing then.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So.
Yeah.
But I don't.
See, I think
I
that's
don't
why
I don't want to sound like I'm better than somebody, but I don't really listen to pop music. So, like that makes me sound like I'm like, gosh, doesn't it? Doesn't it just sound terrible?
It's kind of like whenever you say like, I don't mean to sound racist, but I don't listen to rap.
Yeah. Listen to some rap here and there, like Ludacris word of mouth album.
I feel like you could get called racist by saying that exact sentence. Am I in hot water now?
I don't know.
I
don't think so.
I always, you know what I always wanted? I wish I had have been, like, sometimes I channel Joe Rogan way too much.
Yeah.
And I'm like, hold up. You're not a successful comedian, and people don't know that, like, you're may not be a comedian, but there are times where like if there's a crowd, then you're gonna try to make them laugh, and that's gonna be your stage.
Yeah.
So there's so many other things that I could say that can totally get misconstrued. This is, I think, one of my first times that I've been self-conscious, like, or self-aware that there are cameras and like that's rolling and that things are going, but simultaneously like away from it.
Yeah.
Because I shared with you before, I would have the camera set up and I would have to go and reset the cameras after 30 minutes with the Canon, and then with the Panasonics it would roll for an hour and I would reset those. So, and I've also been doing them here in the basement, opposed of like doing them in like a dorm or in California at their homes, their individual homes. So it's really weird because this is like my place at which I commit the most sin. Like, you know what I mean? Like your home is where you do. I had this idea the other day and I wanted to share it with somebody, and I also wanted to share it with a lot of somebodies. I feel like this is an opportunity to do that. So I'm going to do that right now, and you tell me what you think of it. Is that in your home is where you have the worst thoughts. Like, in your home is the place where you can do the most damage to, like, your mind. Like, in your home is the place where you probably have felt the most lonely. In your home is probably the one place that you don't want to go after somebody you love dies. In your home, and I feel like I could continue going on with this. It's like these things that your home is almost can turn into like this graveyard of just mistakes, primarily in thoughts, just where your mind is at.
I think a lot of it is your home is what you consider your safe place.
Yeah.
So, for instance, like how cliche is it to think like, oh, when I get home from work, I put on comfy pants or, comfy shirt, like crappy old pair of shoes or something like that, like the most comfy stuff, because you're safe. You don't have to worry about even like how you look. Like it doesn't matter. And so I think because of that, your mind does the same thing where you're like, oh, I'm out and about doing this. If I start thinking about this or something, somebody may visibly see the way I'm changing and then make a comment or talk to me or whatnot. But at home, you don't have that.
Yeah.
It's almost like when you're not at home, you have the expectation of like trying to, I don't want to say not be yourself, but not be someone that needs help. Does that make sense? Like, our society is so messed up where if somebody is struggling, like let's say with depression or anxiety, they try to hide that when they're in public because people don't want to be around that. But when they go home, they can be depressed or can be anxious, and nobody's judging them or anything like that, and it almost makes things worse.
Yeah.
Because we've created this environment where it's like having those things are like almost like taboo to be in public. And I think because of that, home is a beautiful and dangerous place, for sure.
Well, the opportunity kind of narrows it in. Like your focus is much more narrow when you are out of the home.
Yeah.
Whereas when you go home, your focus is widened.
Or your focus just doesn't have to be guarded at all.
Yeah.
Like when you're at work, you've got to focus on work. You can't be thinking of or doing. I mean, it matters what you do. Some people can have a little more free reign of their thoughts or whatnot, but primarily you got to be focusing on work. But then when you're at home, you may not have anything to focus on.
Yeah.
Because of that, your mind can go anywhere.
So what do you do for work?
I work for a school district doing I like manage our level 1 and level 2 IT technicians.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Is it
Manage
fun?
a bunch of nerdy people. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like it. I like it a lot.
You guys are a bunch of so you oversee like a little bunch of problem solvers, and I say a little
Yes.
bunch because I remember my friend Michael Foster.
Yeah.
You remember Foster?
Yeah.
He used to do that. I
Okay.
think whenever he was like even in high school. So you
Yeah.
have some high school kids that
A
help
few,
you with
yeah.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. That's
It's pretty fun.
So like computer viruses, or like have you like got some dirt on some kid looking at some things that
A little bit of
they
everything.
probably should have waited till they
Yeah.
got home?
Yeah. Yeah. I
Really?
get some of that. Yeah, anything and everything you can think of. Man, it's nuts. Kids
Yeah.
are crazy. But it's a fun place.
So wait, you are the what receptive, the reciprocal? What is it? A really nice way of calling a trash can a trash can. Reciprocal?
Receptacle? Is it
Receptacle.
receptacle?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Resectable? Vasectable? Vasectomy?
Vasectomy? Yeah. Yeah.
No, you are the collector of the caches and cookies that these kids.
Yep.
Do you have to are you kind of an informant in that way too, where you're like, hey, this guy looked up this?
We don't monitor that necessarily.
Is there an algorithm that monitors that?
No, not really. Because I mean, it's like something like 12,000 kids in the district, so it's kind of hard to monitor everything.
Yeah.
But there's a lot of like web filterings and stuff we do to try to minimize it. But most kids get caught pretty quick. And it matters what kind of thing they're doing, but sometimes they get caught. It goes to a certain team in our department that looks over things, and kids don't realize that like everything we can find out. Like we don't even need your computer. Like some kids have like been like, I was doing this, I smashed my computer. It's like we have records of everything.
So in a lot of these computer districts, these school districts, is that they give you laptops that you can take home now.
Yep.
I totally forgot about that.
Yep.
So
Our district does that too.
Do you have some strange cleanup messes that have ever occurred?
I will say my favorite is actually a bodily fluid you wouldn't think of. My favorite student that came in with a broken computer was working at a middle school. So at first you're thinking it's a different type of bodily fluid. But he comes in, sets the computer down, opens it up. It smells awful. And he's like, yeah, it won't turn on. And I'm like, why? What's going on? And according to him, the story went, he was at like a park or something, working on like a paper or something. And the girl he really liked came and sat next to him and started talking to him or across from him or something. And he got so stinking nervous that he vomited all over the computer. And like, so as soon as he tells me this, I'm like, nope, not touching this thing. But I'm dying laughing because I totally understand how he feels getting like so nervous. But yeah, he just right all over the computer.
Oh my god!
And what a brave kid for like telling me this story. I'd have been like, oh, I don't know, you know.
He confided in you, man.
Yeah.
And, I mean, did you tell him that? Like I was the same way.
No, as soon as he said that, I was like, dude, I totally get it. Like, yep.
I'll take care of it.
Yeah. I mean, we had to replace the computer and stuff. And
Did you have to pay for it?
Yeah.
Oh, that sucks.
Yeah, but
That'll teach him from getting nerves around girls.
yeah.
That's so funny.
Yeah, he's a good kid. Yeah.
But like you can't. So like there's rules to taking home these computers, like of what you search and like what sites you get on. Can you get on social media?
Yep.
You
Can't get on social media.
You can't.
You can.
Cannot. You can.
Can.
Okay.
Can.
Okay.
Yep.
But as far as like social media, I mean like Twitter allows porn.
Mm-hmm.
So is that tracked?
It is tracked. We don't block it because the hard part is in education, like Twitter, social media, YouTube, all that stuff. A lot of people use it in the classroom for teaching this or like learning how to make videos and upload them to YouTube and like some of these things. So and like some of the clubs and stuff use like Facebook, for instance, to have like a page. So there's like hard parts because there is a lot of value in social media and education, but then there is the problem spots, I guess. Which is a good chunk of it.
Yes.
But so we do kind of like if somebody's like, oh, we don't know if this stuff's going on, we can kind of find out that stuff. But
that's interesting.
Yeah.
Because we didn't have computers whenever we were in school.
Mm-hmm.
I remember texting. I didn't text a lot. I hated texting T9. But I don't know if you were.
Do you remember? I was faster at T9 than I am with an iPhone keyboard.
Really?
Yeah, I was real fast with the T9.
Did you? I remember there's this kid, Eddie Alviso. He was a texter, man. He also like texted girls like crazy, like always texting. Like that was like my first realization is like if I don't text girls, then like if you don't have a Instagram, sorry.
Like back when text were like 10 cents a text or whatever it was, you needed to pay by text, not like
his
unlimited.
Parents probably whooped him.
Probably.
But I remember also seeing him in class, like. That was when you couldn't have phones in class either, you know? It'd be like, if you got caught on your phone, whoop, get out. Or they would just take it. Whenever, there was actual discipline in public schooling, that was a jar at them. Okay, so he would just, like, he wouldn't even look. He wouldn't even look at his phone. He would just be able to. He would just be like, And in his thumb, I'd never seen anyone move their thumb so quickly. And he would, he's probably got arthritis now, poor kid. But
or he's really good with like Xbox or something, moving his thumbs around.
Yeah, he's actually now on tour playing Halo around the world.
Nice.
No, I'm joking.
That'd be amazing if he was.
Yeah.
What if he really was and you didn't know?
Oh,
that'd be amazing.
I know. And, like, that would be, like, the key to breaking into the interwebs, Yeah.
Interwebs.
Yeah.
All of them.
It was really depressing earlier to the viewers and listeners that I looked at Josiah and I said that, when you put things on the internet, it's almost as if you take a book and write it. You write that book and you just hammer it to your front door.
Yep.
It was like wise words.
Because only the ones you invite over that actually take the chance see it. Because you probably invite 200 people and like you have like a party or something. Let's say Super Bowl party.
Yeah.
Yeah. You invite 100 people over, 3 of them show up. Those are the only 3 that might have seen it.
Yeah.
They might have opened the door, walked in, and not even noticed.
You've got 300 subscribers, but really like only 3 or 4 of them are going to see it.
Yeah. I think I subscribe to things on YouTube, which I don't even know what they are. I never get on YouTube.
What was the last thing that I subscribed to? I'm trying to think. It was it was some Jargon Bros or something. He like does conspiracy crap.
Nice.
But within like the bounds of like YouTubers.
Okay.
So, if you got a question about like a YouTuber, you're like, who is this YouTuber? They've got 50,000 subscribers and like smaller channels too, I think. Maybe not. I haven't looked too in depth. There's a guy who does reviews on like fast food. Report of the week is what it's called.
Sounds like a weird thing to do.
Yeah. But he did like this whole entire like, it's even weirder that somebody would do like a conspiracy theory on someone who does reviews on fast food.
Does he do any conspiracy theories on people who do conspiracy theory videos?
Dude,
that would be pretty deep.
That'd be deep.
Very
deep. Did you ever hear about ASMR?
What?
ASMR,
yeah.
Yeah. You gotta have your mic a little bit closer to be able to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah. So like people would just talk into it like this. And then I found out that it was like became very sexualized. And girls would talk like this.
That's a thing. Yeah. That's a thing.
Yeah, they would have their fingers all
That's real weird. Like, maybe I'm like an old man, but I don't understand people.
Yeah, and I'd find things like leather.
That's weird.
Like people would listen, like, and you'd have to get like this $300 mic. Actually, this was only like $160 or something, but and you'd have to get a microphone like this, and people would start YouTube channels like here. Okay, that's not going. Hold on.
Oh yeah, that'll be good. That'll be good.
Oh yeah, this one's gonna be good.
This one's gonna be great. Sounds like a cricket.
I wonder what wax sounds like. Okay, that doesn't sound like anything.
No, not really.
Do you see anything else we could ASMR in here?
Probably, but I don't want to pick them up and break anything.
Nothing is of value in here except for like all those baseballs that are signed.
Yeah, that was gonna pick up the baseballs, and I'm like, oh no, I'll drop them and break.
Those baseballs are actually all signed by my dad.
Oh really?
Yeah. I was really into baseball and like he just signed a bunch of baseballs.
It's kind of awesome.
Like that one up there. It's apparently the whole entire Cardinals signed baseball team, but it's actually my dad.
That's awesome.
He took
That's the actual, in a weird way. I think that should be worth more.
and that what else is there? He would sign a bunch of things and just like give them to me. Like those awards down there for swimming. I didn't actually get those awards. He made them for me.
That's hilarious.
I'm just kidding. Here.
Oh, Meryl.
Ooh, a little bit different there. That's a good one.
That's a good one.
I can't take credit for that one though because I've seen somebody do it online. And here, look.
Oh my gosh.
The possibilities are endless.
Oh my gosh. It's the most viewed portion of the video.
Is it?
I don't know. Probably is.
There's like 200 people that joined.
Yeah.
I should have just named the video podcast done in ASMR.
Mm.
That's what would have done it. ASMR podcast. Oh my god, how good would that go over? Do you like those goggles?
Sure. I don't know. Am I supposed to like them?
I just think that it would be so much better if they were capable of ASMR'd. Is there a verb for that?
I have no idea.
ASMR'd?
I'm not really in the ASMR circles.
What's a pirate's favorite type of video on YouTube?
I don't know. ASMR. Gosh,
What a
that's a
stupid
bad joke.
Do you want
I
to pull the
appreciate
string?
it. I don't care.
Okay.
You want to pull the string?
Yeah, we have to talk at the same time though, so
So,
they get to.
We have to talk at the same
yeah,
time.
talk at the same time because then you can
okay.
see the
So you
middle
can see
shot.
the string.
Yeah, this. And
Oh, look at that! It's like a present.
then, wow!
Wow,
Look at that! Isn't
Wow.
that nifty? Isn't that nifty?
it's nifty.
Yeah. Do you want to know what else is in there?
I don't know. Do I? Oh.
Oh gosh.
I like that you did that. I thought about doing earlier. I don't know if, when I was talking about how, like, you know, I'm one of 5 kids. I always tell people, "Oh, I'm that one." I mean, I'm the middle one, so.
Yeah.
So I am the middle finger.
Have you actually done that before?
Yeah.
Really? Like
Yeah.
I'm 5. Yeah, I'm one of 5, and
Yeah,
I'm the middle child.
I'm the middle one. Yeah.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Did it in an interview once.
Some 19-year-old kid tried pulling something on like that with me, and like basically, I forget what he said, but I was telling him how it was at the climbing gym, and I was like, there was like, I broke into this like long elaborate story, and like he really got into it, And then like I was like, and then I actually I think I have it on my phone or something. Or I think I have it in, it was like a coin or something. Like I used it Aldi, and I was like, I ran into this girl, and then like she needed the cart, and so like I gave her the cart, and she gave me the quarter instead of like, you know.
Do you love those interactions at Aldi's?
Yeah.
Where it's like, oh, no, you can have the cart. I don't need the quarter. And as weird as it is, I always am like, you have a good day too. Because it just makes me, it's like you just gave me a quarter. Like you basically just gave me a quarter. That's all you did. And it feels so nice.
I think that there's that is like such an undervalued marketing scheme that Aldi has picked up on, is the whole quarter in the cart.
Which I did hear a comedian. I don't know who this comedian was, but it was weird enough. Like sometimes the best truths are comedians.
I was gonna give you the unwrapped.
Oh,
one.
I don't care.
All right, then don't care. Oh yeah, I've got to get the. Oh, I've got to hold that thought on the comedian.
Okay.
Do you want more water?
I'm okay.
Okay. I was gonna get more water, go pee, and then open a window.
Okay.
Do you want to time me?
Sure.
Okay.
I could pee too.
Yeah.
Not at the same time.
Yeah, because that'd be weird.
Yeah. Don't cross the streams.
See,
Hey.
I was just thinking maybe no. That's the cool part. Weird part would be
Oh.
that people would it would just be just an empty screen.
Oh yeah. You do your thing first.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. We don't want to leave. We don't want to leave
Yeah.
our 2 viewer. Okay, maybe there's no viewers.
I don't know, but
Hey, you know what? Tell a story.
tell a story.
Tell a story to Pete. So there's the camera. You can look
Okay.
into it.
What kind of story do you want?
Do you want reverb?
I don't care. It'll sound really dramatic.
Yeah. And then
Yes.
it's too fast to be able to tell a story over that though.
Yeah, it's kind of a little quick. It's just on your end? That's real weird. That's real weird. Yeah. It's real scary. I don't have to pee anymore because I just peed. Just a little bit. It was real scary.
Good.
Okay, I gotta think of a story.
Yeah.
This is weird.
Yeah.
Okay, I'll think of a story.
Yeah.
I don't know what about.
Well, how about like
I can tell. Unless you want to hear the story, or you can just rewind later. About my first car wreck.
okay.
It's a
And then
funny
also,
story.
what was it before that we were talking about the comedian?
Oh yeah, that.
Okay, so don't forget that. Tell the story, but I want to pick up from the conversation that we just had.
The comedian has to do with all these quarters. So all we got to do is remember that.
Okay.
Well, while Sam's doing his thing, do you want your cup for more water? You might need that. Jeez. Yeah. I guess here's a story of the first car wreck I was ever in. I was 16. I think it was 16. Sounds about right. I had the crappiest car. It was awesome. It was a 91 Chevy Lumina. It was white. 4-door. Almost nothing worked on it. And license tags were expired by 1 day. And I got pulled over. I mean, what are you gonna do, right? So, police officer was very kind, very nice. I've had a lot of times being pulled over, but that's a whole nother thing. And they've all been very, very kind. And he was just giving me a warning. But while he was in his police vehicle, police car, cop car, what do you want to call it? I don't know. Those things are cool. That was really quick. The story's not even like half done. You just got to the part like right after I got pulled over by a police officer. And
Not even to the wreck part?
Not even to the wreck part. And then this guy
I kind of like the reverb.
didn't know that this police officer had me pulled over
Yes.
and hit the police officer's car, which hit my car. So it totaled all 3 cars. And like other police came because the police officer was like writing like me a warning for a license tag being expired by a day. And he was just writing me a warning. He was nice, whatever. But he was down, and then he got hit, so his head went forward into the steering wheel and like knocked himself out and jacked up his neck and all this stuff. Yeah.
Oh, did you get hurt?
Not too bad. Like I got it's like a little bit of whiplash, but it wasn't that bad.
Sorry, I only half listened to what you just said right there because I just had a great idea.
Okay.
How we could get 2 viewers right now.
Huh.
Tell my sister and my mom that I'm talking to Josiah.
Good old Mrs. J.
Hey, I'm talking to Josiah Trotter live on the internet.
And while you do that, I'm going to go use the little boy's room.
I might even just call her. Just be like, hey,
You should.
tune in.
You should.
Yeah, and then by the time you get back, then you can talk to her because you haven't talked to her in a long time.
Yeah, that's true.
Perfect.
That's true.
Live on the internet. Okay. So, I'm going to call my mother. So it's weird, not weird. As soon as he's done peeing, she will pick up. Hopefully. I don't know if she'd pick up right now. What time is it? 9:19, 9:20 on a Sunday night? Oh, dude. Is it Sunday? Oh, I guess I'm perfectly on time. I should also mention that subscription to the channel is half price now. Instead of $0, it's half of $0. And if you subscribe today, you will also get a free chocolate chip if you drive all the way to Kansas City, Missouri to pick up your chocolate chip. And for those also curious in the double subscription, that's where you pay actually double the price of what the subscription is, which would amount in $0. Then you will also get yourself a Josiah phone call. Josiah will call you. He'll let you know what he's doing that day, what time he'll be home, and the plans for dinner. And so we're going to call Tanya and see if she picks up. Let's give it a go. Call.
That's not accurate. I don't decide my own dinners. I can't make that decision.
Nobody can. Nobody can. No, but especially your girlfriend, according to the internet.
Got a trick for that.
You're live on My Testimony.
I am.
Yes, you are the 7th phone caller. You have won a conversation with Josiah Trotter.
Is Josiah there with you?
Yes, I am.
Hi, Josiah. How are you?
I'm excellent. It's been way too long. How are you?
Good, I know. How's Miss Caitlin?
Oh, she's doing great. I think she's at home. She's probably chilling. Excited to.
How long have y'all been married now?
Oh gosh, we've been married. It's February now, so in a couple months it'll be 12 years.
What?
Yeah.
Oh wow, I remember you guys in high school.
Yep.
These are all great. These are all great questions.
Yeah.
You should tune in on. Your face is getting red.
This is how you're gonna force people to get on.
Yeah, exactly. Mother.
Yes.
So, number 1, love you. Number 2, if you tune in on YouTube, you can see this live, and you'll be the first viewer.
Oh, okay, I'll do that now.
Okay. I also sent a text message to Megan. She's also welcome to join and be able to watch a conversation between Josiah and I. You can also comment, I think. I think the live chat's up and ready.
I think that's the thing. Yeah.
Oh.
It is. I've tried to comment on those things, and I can never seem to do it. So I'll have to figure it out. Are you on your podcast?
Yeah. So that's what we're doing right now. I invited
Okay.
Josiah over to make some music and then to potentially podcast it up, and we're about to smoke some reefer. I'm just kidding.
No, you're not.
I know. Cigar, but
Are you on my testimony?
Yep. You just go to YouTube. You'd search my testimony. We're also, I don't know if you're subscribed, but we're having a half price deal, so it's half of $0. So just wanted to let you know on that.
I've subscribed, but for some reason I'm not finding it.
Well, you have to look by channel.
By channel?
Yeah.
Okay. Well, can you help me with that?
Yeah. I'm not laughing at you. I'm laughing with you. Okay, so you just filter it. There should be like a filter button that you push on like the top right corner that you can choose by channel or by video title or like. If you just type in Josiah Trotter.
What if I have a YouTube page? I don't know if I do.
Probably, maybe. But Josiah Trotter, my testimony, it will pop up, and I promise you that.
Okay, I'm doing it right now.
All right, love you.
I love you too. You guys have fun.
We will.
Oh, I see it. All right.
Yay!
All right, bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. I love it.
This is so great. The technology today is...
It is.
So before we get to the comedian and the quarters story, I must mention that I was making an invention. It's called the Inseparable Couples Toothbrush.
Okay.
It's this idea that people are going to be pissed that they didn't listen to this part of the... I have a lighter somewhere. Looking for my lighter, and I think I found it. Gosh darn it.
And then you dropped it.
I dropped it. So, wait, what was not the last thing, because the quarters and the comedian, that's what we were talking about. But this. Oh, so, Inseparable Couples Toothbrush. It's this toothbrush that has brush heads on both sides.
Okay.
And it's like this long. And my mom's watching it out. She's gonna send me a text like, "Don't share that out on the internet." Like, Mom, you're the only one watching. It's cool. But at the end of next year, when I'm making millions of selling this off on Amazon, people will be ticked.
Yeah.
They're gonna be ticked that they didn't listen to this part. But anyway, it's a toothbrush with toothbrush heads on your side.
Okay.
So then you take it, and you can look in the mirror and brush your teeth with your significant other. Those who brush together stay together.
Huh.
That's the motto, right? But I had to make it, and you know how I made it?
How? Did you duct tape two brushes together?
At first, yeah, but then the prototype got better and better. So I tried to melt the plastic with this and like put this over my fire and melt it. And it was the worst experience ever because I think I got cancer.
It's very possible with all the stuff they put in plastic and stuff.
Yeah.
Totally possible.
So like I covered my face and like this is how committed I was to the idea.
I made this inside.
Yeah.
Oh god.
And so I made a mold out of plaster of Paris, and so like it was melted in there, and then that's whenever I started smelling it, and I was like, okay, this isn't good. This is probably cancerous. But I really want to make this. So I was like pouring it in there, like covering my face and like this like plastic coming out. Like that's what you can see it right there. And I poured it into the mold and then like I ran outside and then like I was like, oh shoot. I ran in there, ran back inside, like with my shirt off at this point, covering my whole face, turned off the burners, like put this, like threw it out in the backyard and like opened up all my windows and ran back outside. And ended up just like smoking a Black and Mild in my car that night, waiting for everything to get out.
Just for it to aerate out.
Yeah, because it just reeked of plastic.
I don't know if aerate out's the right word, but you know, air out, I guess. Yes.
So, aerate.
Now you
out.
just use this for all your ashtrays.
Yeah. But I've never told anybody that. That's where this thing came from. I ordered it off Amazon along with clay and plaster of Paris to make the mold. Now I'm going about it a different direction. I'm working with a 3D designer to actually create this.
That makes sense.
Piece that will bond them together. Not bond them together, but clip them together. So, with all that said, we can now jump back to the quarters and the Aldi's.
So quarters. And I don't remember which comedian it was, but sometimes I feel like comedians have the best, like, they really look at our lives and really show a lot of truth and funny things in it.
Yeah.
And there was a comedian who was talking about how the idea that Aldi's uses quarters so then homeless people don't steal said cards.
By the way, my mom said, I see you guys and I'm proud.
Aw. Thanks,
so
Mrs.
proud.
J.
So proud.
Good.
So, yeah.
That actually makes my day.
Yeah. Even more than somebody giving you a card at Aldi's.
Yes. Even more so.
That's a new level.
But the comedian had the thought that if you're trying to keep homeless people from stealing grocery carts, why would you use a quarter? Because what do you do? Like, hey, there's a guy asking for money on the quarter, or on the corner, you throw him some quarters or some change.
Yeah.
So now he's got the quarters to take all these carts.
Yeah.
So when people think that, but it makes me think, I think of this even like more in my mind, where I'm like, no, it's probably because Aldi's doesn't want to have cart corrals and doesn't want to pay people to go out into the parking lot.
Yeah.
That's where that stems from. But it is kind of a funny thought thinking about homeless people stealing carts.
I always thought, I didn't think that in depth of it, but I like the marketing concept of just like Aldi's is a place you go, and like that encounter happens more often than people who shop at Walmart think.
Yeah.
Where like, hey, like here's a quarter, and like that exchange of like, here's my quarter, so you don't have to take this back. Like anytime like that happens so often, as that like you put your groceries in the car, and then like somebody pulls up right next to you, gets out of their car, and they're like, hey, here's a quarter.
Yeah.
And more times than not, don't worry about the quarter. And you just...
I would even say at Aldi's, it happens even at a different point where, like, you'll be sacking your own groceries, putting them in the boxes you found or whatever. Cereal boxes are always the best ones because they're like the big ones.
Did you see the boxes that I have up there?
Yeah.
Well, look at all that. Look at my storage.
It's beautiful.
Look at my storage, like where
It's beautiful. It's beautiful.
Yeah. Just boxes from Aldi's.
Stuff. Yeah. But the cereal ones are really good.
Mm-hmm.
They're really good.
The milk ones are also great too.
Those are good ones.
The almond milk ones. Yep.
But I mean, I couldn't tell you how many times like I've bought something at Aldi's and I'm just starting to sack my groceries or whatever.
Box your groceries.
Box my groceries, stack my groceries, up on that back counter, which I absolutely love. And I think it's actually a thing that more people need to learn how to do, is to do their own groceries. I love it.
Here's a big, and my mom's actually listening, so like I gotta be like cautious. But I remember one time getting angry at her because of her packing abilities, and I said, if you would have played Tetris as a child, you would have known. You would have known that this snowboard that we're putting in the back of the car, like it needs to go right here.
Yeah.
I was always the Tetris god, lowercase, whenever it came to that tall one, because I'd always have, you'd put that in there last. You'd always have that. You'd build that whole entire wall on the left side or right side.
Here's where I disagree with you, though. I was really good at the game Tetris, but not like life skills Tetris.
Sure.
So I was different, I guess, then.
Like as far as like putting in the things inside your box at Aldi's, you weren't good at that?
I'm okay at it. But like way better and more skilled at playing like Tetris.
Sure.
Like go into like, arcade, go with the wife, we'll take like $20 or whatever. She'll give me like $1 because she knows I'm just going to go play Tetris and I can be there for an hour and be fine. And then she just goes and spends the rest on skee ball or something, which is pretty fun.
Yeah. Shout out to Up Down.
Yeah. Up Down or like Power Play. They've got a really good, the original Power Play in Shawnee has an original Tetris machine, and that's killer.
Yeah. That's your game of choice. Did you ever play Xbox or like any kind of like else, like other than arcade games?
Not until the last like probably 4 or 5 years. I mean, I had a little bit here and there, but not very intently.
Yeah.
I guess. So, but now I'm like, I had to cut myself off from playing Skyrim because I was playing it too much. So then I'm on an Oblivion kick, which is just the game before Skyrim.
Okay.
But
never got into Skyrim or Oblivion, but it's like very RPG-esque.
Like if you played Fallout.
I'd never played Fallout, but I know the genre of gameplay.
Yeah. So yeah, I've sunk hundreds of hours into Skyrim.
Okay, so now that we have, we've got some viewers here. My sister and my mom. I don't even know if it's just my mom. It's cool though.
Thanks, Mrs. J.
Yeah, shout out to our first follower or live viewing watching. But we were talking about a little bit about how the churches suck.
We talked a little bit, implied it.
Another loaded question coming here. Like, why do churches suck? Like, why is it that building, that place, that? And I think I'll be first here. Is that what really frustrates me is it doesn't really frustrate me until like somebody else brought it up, but I think it has a play on things. Is that the beauty of a church has absolutely been torn down to just like a warehouse, and which like I want to talk about this specifically is the beauty of a church. Like my dad and I had a conversation about the Vatican recently and Michelangelo and his painting and it's strange too because a lot of the Protestant churches are very art welcoming. Like they like, especially when it comes to the music side of things. Like the music is like Protestant churches is like they took the road of like, hey, you express and create music. We want you to come in here and we want you to do that.
Yeah.
But and you think of like the Catholic Church is like their music is kind of a little bit less how can I say this, modernized, but the beauty and the creativity on the walls and the architecture is just absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. And so like my I guess it's not really like it's like what happened to that, like when they built their cathedrals, it would take 300 some years, like more than one generation. Like they would be dead before they saw it finished.
Yeah.
And so what happened to where we got to the point where it's like, oh, it's a warehouse, like let's make it into a church. And then you know what I'm saying? Like
I don't know for me personally when it changed or how. But for me, that doesn't matter.
That doesn't matter to you?
No.
Yeah.
Because I've been to churches that were literally in warehouses where, like, across the way would be like an auto shop or something like that. Like I've been to those.
Well, Desperation was like one of my favorite places.
And that's not the only one I've been to in a warehouse. There's a church right by our house.
Is it crazy that I was like,
yeah,
that pastor was phenomenal. I thought.
Michael Kraft was pastor for a long time, and then now it's Bill Brown, who's an amazing person. I love Bill. Bill, if you want to talk about a ridiculous musician,
he's good.
Oh man, he's real good. But I think
you've never been led away from a church because of the lack of art.
The lack of art. I would even say I wouldn't say led away because of music, but there's others that maybe the music enticed me more. Because I have a heavy respect for a lot of the very traditional things. Because growing up, we went to LCF, but then the other churches like we went to growing up were more traditional Southern Baptist churches. So a lot of like piano and singing hymns. And to this day, I couldn't tell you how many, like if you were like, hey, say like 5 lines from It Is Well With My Soul, I could probably do it. Yeah. Not that I want to do it right now because put me on the spot.
I have reverb.
Yeah. But I have a extreme respect for that. And that's why, like, things where, like, the Catholic Church, them doing a lot of these same songs and, like, being more traditional in their music, I don't have any problems with, because there is beauty in tradition. But I think there's also beauty in expressing yourselves. So I think it's kind of like, what are you looking for?
Yeah.
And I think some people have been turned off by one or the other. I mean, I have met people and I've talked to people who were turned off by the being in the warehouse or having the more modern music, and that wasn't for them. There's nothing wrong with that.
Sure.
Nothing wrong with that not being how you want to express your faith at church at all. At least to me, it's not. And I mean, for me, I don't even go to a church. So it's kind of goofy to ask questions about how a church is to somebody who doesn't really go to a church.
Yeah.
I have a high respect for them. And even me and my wife, we truly believe in tithing, and we tithe to a church, even though we don't go to it, because what they're doing is what we want people to be doing. Yeah. I guess we support this church. We just don't go there. So yeah, sounds kind of random and weird, but I don't have a problem with either. But I think either way, it's important that the church is expressing their faith or themselves in the way they deem most fit. So having the Vatican and having this amazing art, and that's how they want to express it. They want to spend 300 years to build a building to express that type of commitment and devotion to God. Yeah. Awesome. Yeah. But then you have people meet in a warehouse. I think that's also awesome to say, hey, we're just simple and we just want to give you a safe place. Sure. There's also that. So I think that's the beauty that sometimes gets missed in the church.
It really makes me, so recently, I told you every other week we do this Sunday morning live. Yeah. And we took a political compass test recently. Mm-hmm.
Those are fun for me.
Yeah. Yeah. And so, but it was less of like, well, this point is completely away from like politics. It's more of the idea of these 4 quadrants of your authoritarian at the top, extreme towards the north, right? And then towards the south, you have extreme libertarian, right? Okay. And then you have also the left and then the right, which is more conservative versus liberal, right? Right. So, yeah. So, I think that could really be applied to our religious landscape as well. Mm-hmm. And order versus chaos, kind of like with the authoritarian versus a libertarian, more of like order being the top and chaos being the bottom, right? And so just on that axiom, that axis, on that axis, you could place like the more Catholic or the Orthodox Judaism or Orthodox and Catholic as like the more orderly. Mm-hmm. It's not so orderly that like you have to come in and you walk like this, Yeah. But it's on the more orderly side. Yes. Whereas the Protestant is more the non-denominational. Mm-hmm. Sure, we'll say the non-denominational is probably the reflect of that being the more chaotic. I don't mean chaotic in the sense of...
But you're just more talking about the scale. Yeah. And how it works, not necessarily saying they're chaotic.
Yeah. And then you also have like the more liberal or the more conservative, and that's kind of, that is determined more by like, so this axis would be like the sacraments, mm-hmm. and then this would be the doctrine. Okay. Yeah. And so the doctrine being... like with the Mormon church, is that their doctrine is more strict, and so it would be more on the right side, whereas the doctrine at like a Methodist church out in California would be more towards the left, right? Yeah. So I don't know why I share that with you, but it was just like this thought of like there's and I guess I do know why I is because a lot of times in my life is that I felt like I'm very I'm a very chaotic individual, like as far as just as far as my tongue. My tongue is a chaotic member of my body.
Yeah.
Right. I speak. I talk. I like to, and sometimes I talk too much, and sometimes I share too much, or what have you, and so there needs to be more order in my speech, right? And so like that's just one aspect of like of who I am personally, and I also like to move a lot. Like I would love to just travel everywhere.
Yeah.
And just meet just new people and just move around, right? So I'm more like chaotic as like a and so like I thought actually considered going to a Catholic church because it's more orderly.
Mm-hmm.
And it could almost ground me a little bit better in that there's something that I go on Sundays and I do this, and this. Whereas with other individuals is that they're very orderly. Their schedule is very tight knit.
Yeah.
You want to meet with me? We're going to have to schedule 3 weeks out because all of my meetings and all of the people, even I have it scheduled down to a T of I'm getting coffee with this person in the next 2 weeks. So that's not going to work. Right.
Yeah.
And I think that maybe that person would be more fit to be in like a Protestant church. So I've kind of like laid out like these, like the framework of it,
mm-hmm.
and like this idea of and the devil's in the details.
Yep.
So somebody who, and the doctrine is also a big deal, but I think that we're just looking at it too intensively to be like, I disagree that the body and the blood it's not a symbol. It is actually his body. It is actually his blood, as the Catholics do believe.
Mm-hmm.
And to take that and be like, I don't believe that, so I won't go to a Catholic church.
Yeah.
It's like beyond me.
Yeah.
Just the same as a Catholic would say, no, non-denominational church, they believe this and this, so I will not attend it based off of that. Mm-hmm. That's so similar to our political climate. Mm-hmm. I think that our political climate is such a reflection of our religious climate.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
That
was a spiel.
I think it was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. I was talking with my wife about that and how frustrated it is growing up in churches, and then, mine died too, because so many people are like, I don't agree with this one little thing, so I'm going to go and start my own church, or I'm going to go to this completely different church because of one thing. And I've known people who have done that for very minor things. And I'm like, is that the thing that really matters? Where, like, I'm going to be honest, like, if you and I, let's say we look at baptism different, but then everywhere else, let's say we 100% agree, but except for that thing, doesn't matter. I mean, in the end, like, if we agree, and we look and say, hey, this is who God is.
Yeah.
Does that little stuff really matter? No. And I mean, it does, but it more matters in a way where let's try to figure it out together.
Sure.
Let's not say, oh, I don't think that's the same, so let's split.
Yeah.
And that's one thing that's made me really sad, because there's like thousands of denominations.
Yeah.
And so many of these people just feel like they need to go to this place or church hoppers. It's a term. It's like a thing people say because people just go from church to church because they never find anybody who's going to 100% agree with them. Because the problem is we don't always 100% agree with ourselves. So if you looked back 2 years ago and say, on every single aspect, let's say politically and religiously, would you say you 100% agreed with yourself from 2 years ago? No. I know I don't.
Dude, you're talking to a guy who wanted to be old enough to vote for Obama because he wanted a black president.
Yeah. And
which is like the most stupid like reason to like, that was when I was like 17, 18 or something.
Yeah.
Wasn't it? That would have been 2016.
2008 and 12 is
regardless. Yeah. Politically, religiously, just your values in general. Like your values are like those core values of like that way you grow out of it. Like this
you change. And I think it's because you know as much as you know at that point in your life, and you haven't grown to the point where you can understand more.
Yeah.
Where like I look back, 5 years ago, and I don't think I was an idiot for my religious views or whatnot. But like at that time, I think like, oh yeah, I think I'm doing okay. And then now I'm like, oh, you're an idiot. But was I really? Or is it just that's how much I could understand at that point in my life?
Yeah.
Maybe that's it. And that's part of the growing. That's part of the learning is trying to figure that stuff out.
Well, it's building off of foundations and fundamentals.
And yeah, if we can, I mean, it's easier. I wouldn't say it's impossible, but it can't happen, but it's easier to be with somebody or like talk to somebody really intently that understands the fundamentals with you. If you're talking like, hey, we're going to a church, this pastor, he's preaching the fundamentals, I get it.
Yeah. And
from then on, it should be challenging.
Yeah.
Should, like, in a weird way, I almost want to say, like, and I'm going to say it. You like how I'm like, I don't want to say, but I'm going to say it.
Yeah.
Is you should almost be in an environment where somebody says something you disagree with.
Yeah.
Because then you can really look at yourself and realize, like, oh, am I right?
Yeah.
Like, and I think it's dangerous to look and say, oh, are they wrong? And I feel like that's very dangerous. But to look like, oh, is my view, am I correct?
Yeah.
Are they correct? Am I wrong? And then like look into it and really dig into it to see what you really truly feel like is real.
I'm reading a book right now that one of the chapters it's with 12 rules of life. I think 12 rules of some, but one of them is that always assume that the individual that you're speaking to knows something that you don't.
Mm-hmm.
Or the person that you're speaking to.
Yep.
Let's not degrade somebody to just an individual, right? Person. It's language, right?
Yeah.
But to the that assume that there's something that they know that you don't, because clearly they do know something that you don't know. Like that's apparent. Like that's truth. That's factual. That
is
if
very
you speak
factual.
to somebody, anybody in the world, they know something that you don't know.
Yep.
And if you live as if or if you assume, then which is an interesting rule, because I've always been told that assuming makes an ass out of you and me.
Yeah. But I guess
I think that's the right word.
But I guess you don't need to assume that somebody knows something you don't. We know that somebody knows something we don't. Because you're on a different path in life than I am.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying like we're on better ones or worse ones. It's like your path is your own. My path is my own. And because of that, I have different experiences. I have different things I've learned. And that's why, like, I think it's really important to just have people around you that have those different experiences and can help you with that. And you can try to learn off of theirs, because you may not get that experience, but then you can learn from theirs.
Okay, so that's, I think, we were talking a little bit earlier, and that's what I was trying to, like, gauge. Is, like, what is it about Josiah that, like, what, like, attracts me to Josiah is that primarily thing. Like, that was something that you knew even at a young age.
Yeah.
That's something that, like, that I felt that I knew at a young age, is, like, being around people that you disagree with. In fact, here's another idea I want to put on the table, and I want to hear what you think about this, is that whenever I wrote this, like, if I write something down in a journal, then, like, that's something that is, I would like to reflect on it and be like, was I right? Or, like, what was it? What was a, sorry, mid-conversation.
Woohoo.
We can worship the Lord anywhere. We can worship the Lord anywhere, my mom says. True.
Yeah, we can. True story.
So it was that. Is she still watching? Great. I'm going to share my journal with my mother.
Huh. Could be worse.
Right? Like, she could be sitting right here and be able to say, like, I guess you could type it or whatever. But
Yeah.
I'm not crazy, Mom, I swear. I just have these things. And
We're
I
all
think,
crazy.
You're right. So, whenever I was younger, what I would do is I would try to be the lowest common denominator as far as embarrassment. Like, I wanted to be, and then I thought more about that, and it was like not necessarily embarrassment, but vulnerability. Like being the most vulnerable, being the person that would say the things that would most likely to be wrong.
But being in a vulnerable place could lead to embarrassment, for sure.
Yes, yeah. I like to have, like, I was wearing clothes, but I might as well had not been wearing any clothes at all. When I spoke in high school and junior high, I just shut it all, and whatever I thought, I would say. Didn't really have a filter, and I think that there was a purpose behind it. It wasn't that I just did it because I think that there was a little bit of flesh, but I think there's also a spirit side of things. Is that what I wanted to do? Was that I wanted to make it clear to the other person that I was talking to that anything goes with me. You could share anything with me, and there's nothing that you could say that would make me look at you less.
Mm-hmm.
And I wanted that to be clear. And so the way that I made that clear was by just saying something so blatantly, obviously wrong that they would call me out on it and say, "That's wrong." Like, no, that's wrong. And then there's your foundation of that conversation. There's foundation and fundamentals of communicating, right?
Right.
And like the first grounds is like be honest with the other person, right? So how do you do that? Test them.
Mm-hmm.
And I would test people's patience by being really freaking annoying. And like the person who said you're being really annoying, I would know that they were being kind to me. Kind, the root word for kind is kin. Your brother, your sister, somebody treating you like a brother or sister.
They said that because they were concerned about you or
they're
wanted to help you.
Yeah, there was. Yeah, well, yeah. I mean, there's some motives that were intertwined with, like,
But
shut this kid up.
But that's what you would do for a brother.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's what my sisters would say to me. It's like, you're being annoying. So if somebody called me annoying, then I'd be like, okay, we're around somebody that's honest. Great. Let's dive into a conversation. Unfortunately, that's as far as I got, as far as like discovering the fundamentals of a conversation at that young age. Is that like, and not only that, but I was like so confident in that method, or I was just like I said, it had. I'm sure there was a lot of just ignorance involved in it, and just blatant. I wanted to see how far they would go to get pissed off.
Yeah.
But I think there's some truth in that too. Is that like I also, with people, the easiest way you want to see truth from somebody is to just piss them off.
Yeah.
Just piss them off. Like that is, you can't fake anger.
Mm-mm.
And
I think that's why like it's cliche to think like, oh, this couple's like, oh, everything's great, we've never fought, and you're like, you don't know each other, and sometimes cliches are there for a reason, and that's definitely one of them. You don't know a person until you've seen them angry, and you really haven't gotten to know them until you've seen them angry with you specifically. And being married for a while, I've definitely made her angry quite a few times. Yeah. But as jacked up as it is, I would say you don't get a marriage that lasts by not fighting.
Yeah. I can't attest. I mean, but I know. Yeah. There's. It's
because then once you figure out how to fight, you figure out how to fight, and then you figure out how to resolve, which is even more important.
Well, that's the part of the Bible in Genesis that it wasn't until recently that I figured out, or not figured out, but somebody had told me that it's the moment that they lost their clothes, or that they saw that each other were naked. They didn't just that's symbolic for they saw how each other was vulnerable.
Mm-hmm.
And what did they do? They immediately made clothes for themselves.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So,
Yep.
But now I'm building off of that foundation. It's like, that's not the only way you can find out if somebody's honest. Are you inhaling?
No.
Okay.
What?
Because I inhale, and I'm always curious to know if other people inhale.
I used to inhale a lot, and I stopped.
Really?
So I don't inhale much, because most of the time, like, I smoke like a big old like.
Yeah, like a good cigar, and not like
cigar.
a Black Mile.
Yeah. So then when I do inhale, I'm like, crap, I'm not used to this anymore.
Yeah.
I used to inhale when I smoked cigarettes,
Okay.
but I only did that for like a year or two.
Yeah. Did you ever smoke cigarettes and not inhale?
Nope.
I want to meet that person. They're probably a sociopath. Or just something is wrong with them.
Maybe.
Shout out to those who don't
Yeah.
inhale and smoke cigarettes. Don't kill me.
That's why I like the big cigars, is if you inhale, you're killing yourself. Things
Yeah.
heavy.
I should really quit. I've smoked quite a bit recently. I think it's also partially has to do with me not reading the Bible. As weird as that sounds. Don't get me wrong, I have been reading the Bible as much as I have in the past.
Yeah.
So so what's the weirdest thing you ever did to get closer to God?
Weirdest thing.
Yeah.
Trying to think of what's something weird, because it's hard to say weird, because maybe
Everything is kind of weird that you'd like.
Or I don't find it weird. That's the other thing. But
there's not many things that
I'm
you
a weird
do that.
Dude,
yeah.
I guess. I don't really know. 'Cause I guess I just don't find those things strange or weird. But
it was kind of a poorly framed question.
That's okay.
I accept that.
It's okay.
I accept it.
But most interesting thing I've done.
Yeah.
Maybe that's a way to word it.
Yeah.
Maybe. Okay, so this one may be weird. This one, weird might be the good word then in the end for this one. So we've spoken a little bit how in high school my friends joined a Bible-based cult, and that was really, really rough on me.
Oh, yeah.
Okay.
Now we're getting into it.
So it's quite interesting.
This is the meat of Josiah.
That whole thing would be like a 4-hour-long conversation on its own. But
hold on, I'm gonna go get my chicken.
Yeah, you're gonna get your chicken. I forgot about your chicken. You haven't eaten that yet?
No.
Oh, geez.
I'm gonna put this out. I'm gonna have it later after the chicken. But I want to know about the cult that you joined. Did you actually join the cult?
No, I didn't, but my friends did.
Okay. So. I'm trying to think of something that you can do. How did you meet your wife? Tell that story.
Okay.
In the 2 minutes that it takes me to get my chicken.
Okay. So, I actually met my wife in a really weird circumstance. As I said, my dad became a youth pastor at Liberty Christian Fellowship in mid-90s or something. I don't know. I was a kid, and my family moved up to Liberty, and we were going out to Wendy's to kind of meet all the other pastors' families and that kind of stuff. And I apparently went up to go to the bathroom, which happens. And when I came back, there was a girl sitting in my chair. So, sat on her. It's probably about 8 or 9 years old, maybe almost 9. Yeah, and that's the girl I married. So, that's kind of weird. But we also went to that same Wendy's. It's our first date. I feel like I owe you something, Wendy's. Thanks, Wendy's, for, I guess that's where I met my wife and first date. So, hey, thanks. Chocolate Frosties. They're amazing. So are the spicy chicken nuggets. Those things are amazing. I love those things. Those things are real good. I don't really know. That was a really short story, so I don't know what I'm supposed to talk about until Sam gets back. I don't know. Sam. But, well, he's doing that. Yeah. Then, it's where, Wendy's. Good place to meet, future wives, apparently. Thanks, Wendy. Or is it Dave? Or, I don't know. Dave Thomas, right? Isn't he the actor who, was in Strange Brew? I don't know. Kind of strange. Haha. Speaking of the wife. Oh, yeah. But yeah. So, that's what I'm here for. Would say I have a joke, but I don't have a joke. I could tell you some random facts about myself, because I don't know what else to say. I once in 30 days watched every James Bond movie that exists at that point. It's about 2 years ago, so it's all the ones that currently exist until this next one. So that was kind of fun. Learned a lot about James Bond. What else? Oh, and I still currently, when James Bond's on television, I watch it, because who doesn't love James Bond? I mean, seriously. Sam's going to watch this video later and be like, what was he talking about? He's going to think, like, what in the world? Why did I leave him in a room with himself? Just like we were talking earlier, your home is your safe place and you just get in your own thoughts. This is me and my own thoughts. It's random. There he is. That story only took like 30 seconds.
Really?
Yeah.
What else did you talk about then?
Just random stuff. About how good, like, the spicy chicken nuggets at Wendy's are. That's really what I talked about.
I prepped and ready like this. This is soup. It's actually just salsa. But I'm going to put it on here.
I hope there's chicken in there, right?
Yeah.
It's not just like a burrito filled with
tortillas.
Yeah, it's just layers of tortillas.
Okay, so now you have to tell me about the Colt.
What do you want to know? Okay.
Like, where did it start? You said you got 4 hours, but don't you got? Do you have school tomorrow?
Yeah, I gotta be at work tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay. Got a busy day.
Maybe we'll limit it to the length of this.
I can summarize it pretty quick.
This is just.
Oh, dude, that looks good. Kraft, thanks for inventing the best kind of cheese.
Jack Mike, we have just chicken breast. Just didn't even cut it up. This is.
Did you heat it up or is it cold still?
No, it's still cold.
Nice.
Oh yeah.
Nothing wrong with that. That's like good chicken breast is like, leftover cold pizza.
So glad we're on the same page now. Okay, tell me about this. I'm going to turn this mic around so it's not.
Basically, in high school, a revival came to like Kearney area, and these people from this church out in Ohio kind of, I don't know, did like one of the classic revival tent revival things, and really, really long story short, a few of my buddies ended up joining this church, moving out to Ohio. Did a lot of things that weren't cool. And one of the biggest things, I guess long-lasting things for me, is they took so much of the Bible and made it confusing. So
what are those things that they did?
What are the things that they did? There was a lot of things like in high school, like you try to trust somebody and tell them, like your best friends, like tell them some of your secrets, and some of those things that I had discussed with some of them, they used as ammunition against me in front of groups of people, for instance, and things like that. So there's a lot of trust destroyed there, obviously. But one of the hardest things for me, because once they kind of broke some of my trust, I kind of put them at arm's length, did not really talk with them, didn't stay close to them, because I just couldn't. And during that time, they moved out to Ohio, where these people lived, and lived like a very, I'm trying to think of the best way of saying it, extremely conservative life. And I don't mean conservative as bad, but they basically, if you were a male, you had very few rules you had to abide by. But if you were female, you had a laundry list of rules, and you could be beaten if you didn't follow said rules. And there was also the thing that I still struggle with to this day is how they interpreted the Bible. Some things were very literal, some things they weren't, that they would take. And I understand the Bible has some points you need to be like, hey, this is literal, this is more metaphorically, but they made it extremely confusing. And so that's always kind of jacked with me, because I'm like, well, do I understand it or do I not now? But
did they take the Old Testament out of context or New Testament?
Both.
They
at one point,
so like stoning of women.
That was okay. They thought that
just stoning.
Yeah.
People.
They thought you could stone people.
Wow.
They thankfully I never heard of them actually doing it, but they preached that stuff was okay. And I remember one of the big things they said was like everything is up to interpretation except for the red letters, like what Jesus actually spoke. And that always confused me. Then what's the point of the rest of the Bible? You know, if
the red letters being
what Jesus spoke, his actual words.
Yeah.
So that was the only part of the Bible that really mattered. And then I'm like, but then
because the rest was not coming straight from God.
Yes. And that's confusing. But by man. But then that's confusing to
contradicting.
me. Yes. It doesn't it was very there was a lot of aspects like that were very contradicting. And but there was a lot of things, and like I mean that's kind of how much a general summary of some of the stuff. Thankfully, my friends who did join it, now they're not in it anymore. It's been disbanded, and like two of them, they're like married and have a kids, one or two kids now, and super cool to see them. And we've kind of been able to get past a lot of that. But for me to get past a lot of it, I had a lot of anger towards them from some of the things they talked to me about, or some of the things they shared about me that shouldn't have been shared. So I guess this is where it comes the weird part of me kind of learning something about God is a few years ago I got super into, I still do a lot of research into it, but I did a lot of diving into research and books about cults, specifically Bible-based cults. To the point, for me, it was important.
So you've seen all the TED Talks on those girls that came from the cults in like New Zealand?
Yep.
Was it New Zealand?
Yes.
What was it?
I think it was New Zealand. I don't remember
the name
what
of
they
it.
were called. I don't remember what they were called. But yeah, I've seen those. Yeah. Because it's weird to say this, but in studying cults, I was able to better realize that my friends who hurt me were not, I don't know how to, this sounds really weird, but it's not like they were being maliced. Like, so for the longest times, the hurt, I thought they were doing it out of malice, or I was angry towards them. It was hard for me to forgive them for that stuff. But realizing how cults are set up and how these leaders use people and basically manipulate people's thoughts and feelings and emotions for their own gain, and realizing, like, if anything, I was just somehow lucky that I didn't get roped into it. And so it's like kind of helped me learn and forgive them, and through that be able to actually, like, in the last like 4 or 5 years or whatever, get back into going to a Bible study, get back into the Bible and reading it on my own, where I'm not as confused. Because I used to just be so scared of being confused because of how they would try to twist and turn everything, that I just didn't want to read the Bible, because then I would just get confused. Like, oh, is this how they would have viewed it? Or is this how it really is? Or is it something else? And I think just kind of growing and realizing, like, that we all struggle with that. And the things that they did, it's like, I can forgive them, and I have. Like, I don't hold it against them. It's part of our stories now. So
why is it that you didn't join it? Is it, and don't tell me that, don't give me a very bland, God prevented me from it. Like, what was it? Like,
I could say that, and that could be accurate.
Yeah.
But
then I couldn't finish the rest of this burrito.
I think the reason I didn't join is this guy, that I didn't join.
Wait, real quick, this guy. Say this real quick.
This guy, I don't know. This guy's messaging me, trying to buy like some
toys
from me, some like action figure stuff, and he's like, "Hey man, are you just ignoring me?" And I'm like, "Dude,
just send him the link to this." We should do a week-long podcast.
Yeah, then he has
and
to
not
just
tell anybody.
Wait.
No, and not tell anybody. And when people ask where we're at, or just wait till the news, like, they can't find us, then somebody will be like they will recognize our missing picture, and then be like, "Oh, they're doing a podcast on YouTube."
Yeah, be like, dude.
Oh my gosh.
But why did I not join? It wasn't because, I mean, you could say,
was this all of your friends that were like?
No.
Okay.
It wasn't all of them.
Some of them thought they were stupid, and like
there was like 4 of us in high school that were extremely close, and 2 of them joined.
Yeah.
And I think it boils down to luck. Because like when that revival came to town and they were kind of like recruiting people, I didn't go. Me and my other buddy who didn't join, we didn't go that night. And the other 2 guys did, and then ended up joining. And they weren't our only 2 friends who joined. We had some others that did as well, but they were the 2 that were closest to us that joined. So I think it just boils down to we just didn't go that one night. And I don't know why we didn't go. I don't remember that. I mean, that was 16 years ago or something like that. So, yeah, for some reason we just didn't go, and then we just kind of didn't get into it, didn't understand it. So, yeah. And then seeing some of the ways they started treating people and some of their actions, where I just wanted to stay away from it. So,
do you ever feel like when you do something loving that you're doing it for something in return?
So you're saying, like, even if you do something that is something loving, but you want something in return,
like holding open a door,
and
thinking to yourself,
you want them to say thank you or whatever it may be. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. There's context to this, but I feel as though I don't want to be vulnerable.
Yeah.
Even though maybe it's an off screen conversation.
Maybe. I think
I was very vague with that.
Yeah.
Like I was very, very vague for a specific reason. Maybe we'll take it off camera. Looks like my mom couldn't hang.
It was getting late.
Yeah. You do have to work tomorrow. It's 10:20.
Yeah.
I want to respect that. So, but thank you.
Sure, man.
Like,
thanks for having me over. It's been fun.
I vaguely mentioned this to you, but part of me was like, dude, he'd be totally down. Why don't you just ask him? But here's the example of it. Actually, it's like whenever I was like actually it's like aligned with this kind of idea. Is that when I asked you to come over and make music, there was like this underlining agenda of like, I need to get him on the podcast.
Yeah.
I need to get him because I've been trying to get people every Sunday, but like my list is running very thin, and there's some people on the list that you also know.
So the list is thin, so you chose me. I see how it is. hey, you just trapped yourself in that one, bud.
I did.
Sorry.
I did. No, every single person on this list is somebody who is like very, and like you should just be damn happy that you made the list.
I appreciate it. I really do.
You effing A. Sorry, that just came out of the blue. That was. I'm sorry. That was like darkness that just like spewed out. I usually don't curse like that. Most of the time I restrain myself, but I feel so at home and at peace with this with you here in my basement, and I just feel like I could say those kind of letters, you know.
You can say whatever letters you want.
Yes. But basically that underlining like there's just something that, like, if your flesh is the front runner, then your spirit is right behind you, right? Mm-hmm. And if your spirit is the front runner and your flesh is right behind you, right? It's like almost like always like this balance, yin and yang, right? And it also has to do with like communication, like conversation. So like the spirit in me was like, ask him to make music, because I genuinely would like to make music with you.
Yeah.
We had a pretty good time as soon as like I was like, let's have fun with it and not like try to make the best music ever in the world.
Some pretty cool music before though.
It was actually pretty dope. I'm not going to lie. But then there's like this underlining thing of like, unfortunately, I don't think that is ever going to go away. Like that idea of like am I manipulating or am I persuading? And here, I guess I bring it to the table now. It's like the light to darkness in this moment is that it shouldn't be that whenever I speak to you that I'm trying to manipulate nor persuade. Whereas I should be able to just simply say, dude, I really want to have you on this podcast. I want to share Josiah with maybe just my mom, but I have this vision and that this idea that I heard a quote and it reflects so much of why I think I do this, is that I swear you'll get out of here in the next 10 minutes. I promise you. I know you have to go to work tomorrow, but this requires a light to
That's
share
fair.
this with you.
That's fair.
Is that this quote? It was. I think lighting that, because I put it out on there, like tasted a little bit like plastic.
That's funny.
But I heard this quote that it was said, it's better for one person to read your book in 100 years than for 100 people to read your book in 1 year. So that kind of like projects a lot of, I think, why I do this and do the editing that I did for the first 20 of 150 hours or whatever. And working into now here is that I think that in 100 years, that I hope in 100 years that people can discover these conversations right here when it's so much worse.
Yeah.
So much more just, like, we think the political climate is bad right now. You know, like, do you think things are going to get better? Like, look at history.
It's one of those we want to hope it's going to get better, but I don't know if it will, you know? Like, I obviously can't see the future, but it's one of those I hope it's going to get better, but I don't see any signs that it is, you know? If I'm being real. And
maybe in select communities, like, it will get better, sure, yeah. But overall, I mean, you know, crime rate has actually dropped dramatically since, like, the 50s in America. It's the only political thing that I've said in this whole entire beautiful. But I think in 100, like things are just, people are going to, if they're not at each other's necks, then it's just going to go deeper and deeper internally. Like, people are the internal struggles. So I think that these kind of conversations right here are like, may not mean anything to people today, but in 100 years, 200, 300 years, that these things, this is value. It's like we're journaling, kind of. You know, it's one thing to watch a Joe Rogan and Jack Dorsey conversation, but this is I think good. It's like one of the first good things that I think I've, like, actively pursued consistently.
Well, I think part of it is, for me personally, maybe this is because I'm probably never going to become some famous dude or whatever, but part of it is, what is your basis for success? So, like, looking at this podcast, how can it be successful? Like, where do you want to take it? And, like, what the vibe I'm kind of getting is, if helps a couple people someday, then it was all worth it, you know? Like, this band I used to play in named Kaiju, like, you know, like the big monsters or whatever.
With Jordan?
No, that I played with him after that.
I thought he was a part of Kaiju.
He joined at the end of Kaiju, and then we changed the name to Exo Giant. Good old Jordan. Love that kid. He's awesome.
I want to get him
really, really good guitar player. Oh, my gosh. That guy's so good.
Yeah.
He's got this current band called Wither Moth. Check them out.
I listened to them.
They're ridiculous.
I got their album.
They're so good.
Probably just too underrated, man.
Yeah.
Like, he may not like me because I told him that the drums were a little bit too punchy, but mastering as far as that, like,
yeah.
But yeah, but Kaiju.
I'll never forget. We played this like really small show in Belton, Missouri, at this like church with a bunch of other metal bands, and we were like middle of the bands or whatever. There was like 4 or 5 bands, and we were like second or third or something like that. I don't really remember exactly where we were, and I mean there was probably like 150 kids there or something, and we played okay, whatever. Like wasn't like us playing wasn't memorable. But afterwards, this kid came up and said, "Oh, I arrived late. You're the first live band I've ever seen in my life, and you guys were so cool." And he was like, "Can I buy a T-shirt or whatever?" And we're like, "No, your money's no good here. Like, here's a shirt."
Yeah.
And just like knowing that this like 12-year-old kid, his first band he's ever seen live and thought it was the coolest thing was a band I'm in. To me, I don't care about. I mean. This sounds mean, but I almost don't care about the other, let's say 149 people in the room, because that one kid, we were successful that night because we made a lasting memory for one kid. We changed that one kid's life. And granted, hopefully that kid, whoever he was, don't even remember his name, but if he's seen 100 bands since and we're the worst band he's seen, okay, fine. But we were that first band and started those memories.
Yeah.
And to me, like,
that's why you do it.
That band
moment,
I played with
like,
forever, and that was one of the biggest memories for me.
Well, you remember the first band that you saw?
The first band I saw? Vaguely.
Who was it?
The first band I remember seeing was DC Talk, and I was like maybe like, I don't know, 6 or 7 years old. I like vaguely remember it.
That's funny. I talked to another guy that he went to a DC Talk concert, and you might have to watch it. Who was my old boss, and he took a box of cereal and got on the stage and got it signed by them.
Nice.
For their song Breakfast something.
Sure that wasn't Newsboys, because Newsboys had a song about like breakfast or something.
I don't know.
But yeah.
Anyway, but the Avril Lavigne was mine.
Nice. Could be worse. I mean, she was.
That was also the first concert that I saw a thong.
Oh, nice.
And I got her pick.
Is
and
your
I'll close on
mom
that.
still? Yeah,
No.
is your mom still listening?
No.
Uh-oh.
She actually took me to that concert.
Oh, nice. Nice. I love it.
Yeah, front row. If you could imagine, like, on the barricade and, like, your mother protecting you.
Yeah.
That was it.
That's
Me and my
awesome.
buddy Connor, like, front row, and, like, our mothers are behind us, and, like, their arms are on the barricade, making sure that we don't die from the mosh pits that ensued at an Avril Lavigne concert.
That's awesome.
She
That's
was
amazing.
a skater boy. She said, "See you later, boy. She wasn't good enough for you." Okay. We'll close on that.
It's a perfect ending.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for
Sure.
listening to
Sure.
whoever in the 100 years, 1,000 years, whatever.
Somebody will eventually.
Yeah, like in 100 years, I'm going to have like 100 million subscribers.
Yeah.
Hit the smash like button. And shout out to all of the people in Norway and Sweden and South Korea.
Yes.
Not North Korea. For listening in. That's cool.
Yeah, that's amazing.
So I will. I bid you a farewell.
Good sir.
This is enough for a shot. You want to take a shot?
Sure.
And it hit the wide angle perfectly.
Nice.